Welcome to Caffeine and Creative, where Pat and Mo from Greer Films brew up raw conversations about life behind the camera, storytelling, and navigating the ups and downs of running a creative business. With a blend of caffeine-fueled banter, behind-the-scenes insights, and plenty of laughs, we're here to connect, inspire, and keep it real. Whether you're a business owner, creative soul, or just here for the stories, grab your coffee and join us for some unfiltered fun. Welcome back.
Morning.
Thanks for tuning in and listening to us crazy people talk crazy caffeine creative discussions.
Talk for yourself. I don't think I'm crazy.
More crazy.
I was going to say, there's definitely times where
Shout out to CAFFEINE Corporation, by the way, for our lovely coffees this morning. Always making them nice and warm and frothy. So
especially on this cool change of a day that we're having at the moment. So the cold weather is arriving here in Bathurst.
yeah, dusted off the old the heaters have come out. Time to turn them on. Time for them to suck our power and short circuit things and turn devices off.
Well, hopefully not this time.
Figured that out.
Like we've done, it was 6 movements of the studio space. So we've rearranged again.
Yeah.
And this seems to be a topic that we go on about nearly every episode, I think. But more that the way that we've thought about this layout, well, when I thought about the blueprint of the layout, was that then I tried to think about the power and trying to avoid tripping our circuit this year with these heaters. And yes, there is definitely more efficient ways that we could be heating our space or looking at different solutions. It's on the books, it's on the cards, but at this time we're going to
cards. If it was on the books, it'd be happening.
Well, yeah, it's probably more on the cards, but it's a work in progress, and just thankful that we have them here ready to go, because I think it was last winter we actually had to go buy the ones we've got now.
And I
and
can't remember what the other ones were before what we have now.
So the ones that we had originally came from Bunnings, and they were little ones. They were only...
And they would just blow hot air, and half the time it was like, "Is that hot?"
Yeah,
yeah.
And I do believe that we killed them.
Yeah.
In this space.
They were noisy.
So then we got these new ones through one of those like.
Yeah, it's like an infomercial business, basically.
Yeah. But these ones are designed to be inside and outside, so the temperature coming off them is much better than the old ones.
Heater.
Yeah, infrared. So we're always very careful.
They're very good.
Yeah, except for the trip
Power
of circuits.
Problems. That's just the building problems.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
But yeah.
So
welcome to the random conversation. But yeah, it gives you a little. Obviously, the idea of these chats is to give everyone a bit of a insight and pull back that curtain as to what the challenges that we deal with, I suppose. And talking about challenges, we wanted to highlight some things that we've overcome since we last spoke to everyone, I suppose, and since we last spoke together on the podcast. So well, you can run us. I was going to say, I think the production crew really has had the most challenges in the last month. Yep.
So do you want to run us through some of the challenges that you've had?
Yeah. So I think the most unflattering part of running a production business is when it comes to equipment and management of the tools, let's call them, is hard drive space and computers, I suppose. Computers can be exciting because it's a fresh, fun new toy that is powerful and it runs things. But hard drives is probably the most tedious thing of the industry. And we're not quite at the level of having the NAS servers or whatever they're called, where you can punch a bunch of big external drives into a local server, and that's how everyone accesses things. At this stage, they're just external hard drives that house our content, our archived footage of clients, and so jobs are done. Things are moved onto hard drives, A to M or whatever it is, based on the alphabet of the client, and it goes away safely. And every now and then you got to stock those up again and sort of restart that wheel. And but then on top of that, my old computer, which is now our production assistant's computer, just decided to start acting up really funny during that process of us moving footage around and moving and cleaning up our management of our hard drives and things, where an internal drive decided to start disappearing in the PC when he was trying to move things around. So, and then one thing led to another, and doing some troubleshooting, and thanks to my brother, who's our unofficial IT support outside of my IT support, got me to trial some things, and it just opened up another can of worms on the computer. And we ended up obviously having to get Paul from Bathurst IT to help us out, and he's currently got the computer still. But yeah, excited to have that back and hopefully running back to its original power, because it's still quite a good computer, I think still. So new hard drives and things within it should fix it up. But outside of, that boring stuff is, I guess I wanted to chat about overcoming things that, returning to something that, you haven't done for a little while, and, can bring its own little challenges of anxiety or, a bit of unsurety, and, will I remember things? Will I stuff up, or things like that? And especially in this instance, it was live streams that have sort of come back to us. It is a service we do offer, and we do, but, over the last little while, it's been less demanded, I suppose, and less people have been doing them. So outside of things like this and stuff, it's been more sort of, recorded and then put up later rather than doing it live. So, but in this instance, there were funerals, and they were, so that still does warrant a live stream. And Jeremy, who's our production assistant here, he took it in his stride really well. And it was, I gave him, a bit of a refresher on it all. And because even I had to refresh myself a little bit, because I haven't done them for a little while as well. But being very familiar with it and having to overcome some challenges that I've run into during an actual stream, that can be stressful. But yeah, he did exceptionally well. And, I went in on the first one just to check up on him, and, we ran into the issue of having a USB given to us to import, a slideshow that was part of which, wasn't originally, discussed. It wasn't, obviously, most funerals have that stuff, so we should have anticipated it. But we both then had to quickly remember, how do we make that work again? Like, we know we can do it, but like just having to refuel that knowledge in our minds of how we make that work and on our desk, and for the viewer, so it's the best experience. And we both got there in the end, and I left Jeremy to his devices, and he smashed it, and now he's been very proud of doing 2 in the last week or 2, and
2 weeks.
It was a definite huge challenge that he was able to overcome.
And I think, and like you sort of touched on it there, that we used to do them. So this used to be live streams, as we all know, especially post-COVID and post all those challenges that we had. Live streaming was something that we were doing quite frequent.
It was massive.
We were doing it not just for funerals. We were doing it for a range of reasons. And, I'm so glad that we had all that time and all that experience doing it, because when you've been chucked back in that situation, both of you acknowledged that it could be a challenge, but overall you overcame it as well. And that's right, Jeremy, he actually mentioned how proud he was that he was able to do it, and do it, with a bit of confidence.
Yeah.
And
100%.
That he wasn't... Like, you're a little bit nervous or anxious when you're doing something that you haven't done for a while, but he trusted his self. So, as a part of our core values, he trusted the process and he got it done. And he was honest with you about his, nervousness about that. So we were able to support him. So our core values were really highlighted in those moments, which was really lovely to watch. Obviously from the sidelines, because obviously I'm not there. I'm just hearing about it from a studio perspective. And yeah, it was really great that you guys worked as a team on that. So well done.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah.
There was something that was so on mind, and obviously because this is very raw and on the fly, I've totally forgotten my words and what I was going with. I was thinking about something. I think it was just, that we offer live stream, but it's just not a part of our main wheelhouse. anymore. Like we still do it,
it's
but
very sidelined.
It's sidelined in the aspect that people know that we offer it, or they know to ask, do we do it? And then we, obviously jump at the opportunity to help people because, doing it at a live stream at a funeral, it definitely has a different emotional weight to it compared to, live streaming a conference or something like that.
Yeah.
That just doesn't have the same emotional connection. So I was glad that we were able to be available to Renshaw's and to the families that needed us.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
The other thing I was just thinking while you were going on about your computers, which is lovely.
Nerd.
Yes, but it's part of what we have to do. I was just doing a calculation in my head, and you know how we go, that computer's not that old. I would say that computer's like 4 or 5 years old now.
Yeah.
So that would explain
its
challenges.
Demise. Yeah.
Yeah. So, upgrading it and everything.
It was more originally a personal computer and then got turned into the work computer.
No. It was the in-between. So you did have that one that was a personal computer that turned into the work one, and it was at home.
That's right.
But this one that is now Jeremy's computer was the first PC that we bought with the lead up to moving into here. So I would say that's about 3.5 to 4 years old, actually. Well, we've been here 3 years.
Into here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I believe it was.
So maybe 4 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think we did purchase it before we moved into here, but I believe you did a laptop in between. So when your home PC died, we had one of the laptops in between.
Yeah.
Because of the live stream, because we were in that space of a bit of not nomad, but being able to have flexibility about where you were editing and stuff. So I believe there was a laptop in between, which might actually be one of the ones that is starting to struggle.
Yeah.
So,
it's a black laptop.
Oh my goodness, timelines and things, and makes total sense when you start looking at it like that. That
technology is always fun.
Yeah, starts to break down. So hopefully my biggest goal, because we've had the welcoming of 2 new crew members, but we've also done the investment on new equipment to support those 2 new people, is I'd like to think that in the next 6 months we're not really needing any equipment. That would be lovely from my perspective. Yeah. But I also think I'm dreaming to think that we're going to get to 6 months, but we'll just take it as it comes, and we reinvest where we can, as we do. And as anyone in the creative industry would understand, reinvestment's pretty huge for what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, at the very least, we're pretty good for cameras now, I think.
Oh,
so
yeah. It's the other tools that we need support in.
Yeah.
So in the last month, we've done a lot of marketing on our own reels. Do you want to, do you have any highlights?
I've really enjoyed all the things that we've been able to, have planned out, thanks to you and Kayla, and being able to just, chime into that and be like, right, that's what we need, and, good, clear direction. And then I've been able to take that and, put the creative fun and spin on it with, obviously with some assistance from yourself. And Jeremy's helped a little bit here and there as well. But yeah, it's been fun, producing some of our content, like little behind the scene things. I've pulled some things out that are, a little bit dated, but hey, it's the internet. Things don't get that much dated anymore, really.
And I think
it's a different perspective and different story. Like friend that was here the other day, was that yesterday? He popped in to see the studio, and he mentioned like when I was showing him. So we've got a gallery now on our wall as you walk up stairs to the main sort of editing crew space upstairs in our studio, and we've got a gallery of imagery along the wall, and some of it's photos that we've taken, but also awards and things like that. But a particular photo that he saw was Claire in this pose with the lights, and he's like, he recognized it straight away because he saw the little video that we shared of people actually in this space right now, watching their filming their reaction as they watch the dance video for the first time. So yeah, it's cool because it's like, well, it's old for me, and it's but like he was intrigued and he thought it was cool. So it's like, well, if you're reaching one person that connects to it, like that's enough for me.
And I think you've actually just touched on something really important there, that when people are posting their content, if you're connecting with one person at the right time, then you've done your job. Don't worry about getting viral reactions or, 10 comments or whatever you're trying to chase in that aspect. I think if we just remember that as long as it got to the one person who needed to see it on that day or in their journey of business or creative or whatever that looks like, then we've done our job. And that we connect and attract the right people at the right time. And that goes for people trying to, attract us even, like from a mentorship perspective or, that up the stream focus is that we all connect at the right time.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, as you're putting out that positive energy in the world and that sort of stuff, it's all comes into play. But like, finding some new sort of techniques and other effects to sort of like, because there was one in particular where I was like, okay, I found this piece of paper that was, amongst us cleaning up, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And like, it's nothing flashy. It was like me just, because it was all up in here and I just needed somehow to have something down on paper to give me some sort of proper guidance. And, there was initial stages of, okay, I've listened to this song, 50 times now by now, but like I still need to have some sort of plan. So, map out the structure of the song briefly, and then, I can see the visual of this certain visual that I want to achieve. Where that goes in the song or in the video, I don't know, but this is the type of the vision that I want to achieve. So, crappy little drawings of that. And, finding that piece of paper was a cool little sort of fun discovery while cleaning up and moving our space and going through those drawers that don't ever get looked in. So it was a good little keep safe, and that was then used in this upcoming reel that I've produced for us. And it was that scenario of like, I don't want to just, I'm going to scan that in and, that gives me the digital version, and how am I going to make that appear on screen? It's like, it's a bit boring to just slap it in and there it is. So, it was like, it was very much that opportunity to get those creative juices flowing and understand how I'm going to build it from ground up, using that as the key foundation of, I want to be able to have this spoken to, so I'm going to also talk about it on like voiceover, with then obviously the final result as the reference. But then also I was like, let's go that extra 1% and find some actual raw footage. And because I remember that I shared one or two things of that during its actual editing stage. Well, however old this is
I was going to say,
like
however,
a year and a bit old.
I don't even know. Like, I think because that's right. You in your post, so the reel has actually gone up, and it is on our socials, and the reaction one's already up. And you had correction 2024, so it definitely went up last year. But it's funny how, like, in a way, it feels like it was last week, but then in another way, it feels like, isn't it more than a year ago? Like the timeline of, our sense of time gets so blurred in this place. And, a mix of that is our busy, beautiful, chaotic lifestyle that we have of our kids and stuff. But we also bring that into the studio where it is quite chaotic at times. And like you just said, my mate came up yesterday and I was like, was that seriously yesterday? I feel like that was like a week ago now. Like, your sense of time gets so distorted. But I think it was really funny that, so now, because we have wonderful Kendall, who is an animator, it would have been really cool for her to like take your image, still have it in the frame, and like almost trace it and bring that to life, and then see the footage happening behind it. So I would love to have that conversation with her now about, one, is that doable?
Yeah.
And then secondly, if it is, even though we all can appreciate technology, AI, all those elements, it would be really cool to see how, if she can do that for starters, and then if we could actually implement this into, a reel once a month, that you and Jeremy sit down and do storyboarding, because that's essentially what you're talking about, is storyboarding. and then having her repurpose that brainstorming and storyboard exercise into content, which then,
seeing it from
that's really fun. Yeah.
Paper to visual sort of thing.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, I know that she works on an iPad and takes her notes that way. So maybe that's, bringing your tablet.
Yep.
And like drawing directly into whatever, if that helps her with that process. But it's just we've obviously mentioned that we've got the excuse me, burping in everyone's ears. The two new ladies.
Yep.
I can go to say girls, but they're like close to my age, so ladies. And the ingredients of creativity. So very, like, even because Kendall's been here now, this is her second week. Layla, today it's her second day. But I can already feel that the ingredients of creativity is really pumping at the moment. And even though we would class ourselves as being a little bit quiet as such, it's nice that we are a little bit quiet because we're getting an opportunity to play, breathe, and think about different ways that we could do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because if we're flat out, you just don't get a chance to have that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. The old pressure cooker dial's just back here right now. So yeah.
Oh, it's still on, but
find your feet and explore and feel comfortable and flex those muscles, and then then you can push that forward into that, and then when this comes in, then you can jump on that sort of thing and flex there. So
exactly. And like I still feel that we're in the pressure cooker. Don't get me wrong, it's not off or anything. It's just that it's not whistling.
We're not running to turn it off.
Oh, I think we've had moments where it's exploded, but that's all right.
So what's coming next? We got some things coming up that we wanted to mention.
Well,
reflect on us.
Well, it's just more that
get our heads
we
around?
had a bit of a chat about it, and so on a personal perspective, I fly out to Cairns in 11 days, which I'm actually getting a little bit nervous over, quietly, and then once I come back, we go to Melbourne for a conference, which we're speaking at.
Yep.
And we've got 2 45-minute slots.
And we're at the
end.
More or less.
The two last speakers.
Because we're funner.
Well, I think it's more that the way that we present and the way that we talk and banter with each other will be a nice end presentation. Like I was just saying to the crew just before, actually, that there was some kind of joke that Kendall made, and I laughed and I clapped my hands and I went, oh, we're just going to fit right in. Like, humour is so aligned with us, you and me personally, which as I turned around to them and I said, we probably forget sometimes that our studio is like our second lounge room. Like, we're very comfortable in this space. And, sometimes our jokes can be, you got to be mindful of that sort of stuff. But it obviously it comes out at some point, so we're better off being ourselves and authentic. So, I think very similar reason is why we've been selected to go last at this conference. But so 2 45-minute slots. One slot we're going to talk about social media. That's probably more my wheelhouse, which I've got to work on my presentation. And
I'll just stand there and look good.
Well, I think we're sitting.
I'll sit there and look good.
Like, I think it's like like bar stools kind of scenario.
Yeah, it's cool looking venue. It's very rustic vibes and stuff. Yeah.
And probably what we were a little bit inspired by when we did this space. But like, I looked at the couches and I was just like, oh, I wish I had like a couple of those. Yeah.
It's very Melbourne.
Very Melbourne, which, old stomp ground for us. So, but, mindful that I don't want to be sitting up there just talking to myself, and then same with you when it comes to the production, because that's the second conversation. One, I want it to be interactive, but I also want to make it so that we overlap, so that I can talk about social media, but, this current client has done this, and Pat, what have you found with by doing reels? What have you seen? What have you noticed? And then like on the ground with the client. So what have you overcome with, you know, this person to achieve this? And then looking at it from a performance perspective in, well, by them doing this, we've increased this reach, or they've noticed an increase in this, and almost like that testimonial but not style thing. That's my view for social media conversation. And then you guys are working on a show reel.
Yeah. So
what's that? What's
show reel? The vision for the show reel will be our 6 years of Greer Films. 7 years. 7 years of Greer Film. Well, sorry, it's 2025 now, isn't it? So
7 years.
Yeah, keep getting that wrong.
And
that was like yesterday at hockey. I was trying to confirm how old Lucas was.
Oh my goodness!
And I'm like, yeah, he's 6. Oh yeah, no, turning 7. Yeah, I was like, well, hang on, when's your birthday? No, you just
turned.
It's 2025. Your birthday's in March. Like, get back over there with that group.
And it's really bad. So I actually rely on a Facebook memory of us going to Carl Barron in April.
Oh yeah.
I rely on that memory through Facebook to be like, well, we essentially started Greer Films the next day. Like, more official compared to when we were living in Worsley Street. Like the day after Carl Barron really was the day that we went, it's no longer going to be a hobby. We're going to see if we can turn it into a business. I failed to see that memory this year, so I actually have no idea what day that was.
Yeah, it might be coming up still.
No, I swear it was in April.
April, okay.
And we're in May.
Stay tuned. We'll do some research and try and figure it out.
I'm wondering if I can just like Google.
Probably an important piece of knowledge for this conference and this content.
Yeah, like it's, you know, so you want a date.
Anyway, going back to the reel, it'll be, you know, a timelined visualization of how our productions have evolved over 7 years, I suppose. So my vision, and whether it's achievable, and it might actually be very helpful now that Kendall's part of our crew. She might actually be able to assist with this, but I wanted a timeline. So if you imagine your view, like your screen, like your video, it's going to be going along the bottom with, you know, the dates, or, you know, years or dates, or
whatever that looks like at this stage
is broken down to. But ultimately the timeline is along the bottom, and that will sort of appear and disappear as the video progresses, with maybe some key highlight ones that then might pop up as the show reel plays. So yeah, that was my vision for it. So
and not to sound like I'm really not paying any attention to you right now. So
as you sit on your phone, which I thought, you know, I threw my phone over there, but
yeah, but this is why I keep it, because I was able to quickly Google and good old Facebook with the events, because I clicked interested back in 2018. So there were 3 shows. It was on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, which I believe we would have gone to the Wednesday or the Thursday show. So that makes our anniversary either the 11th or 12th of April.
There you go.
There you go. So we might just pick a day.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty close, right? Like, because obviously we had everything registered, even though we were a hobby, like we sort of did it a little bit backwards. But if you just want to pick a date, it's like, well, it's one of those 2 dates, either the 11th or 12th. And moving forward, I might put it in our calendar so that we don't keep forgetting.
Yes.
So there you go.
A piece of content for you to put into your strategy. Right?
Oh, another piece, even though I've already done 8 weeks or 10 weeks worth of strategy. I don't need any more.
Because then we need one for when we opened here, and, you know, and the list goes on and on. But
which is exciting.
It's important, in, you know, for those people out there that, you know, are always looking for ideas of content. That's a freebie that everyone has, basically, is some sort of celebration of a milestone of what, like, who it is that you are and what it is that you do, and when that all kicked off, and this, you know, certain milestones of the evolution of that. So,
and then also, if you're looking for free pieces of content, you got to remember the team that work with you. And I intentionally did not say for you just there, the people that work with you, you know, celebrating their milestones of a job anniversary or a birthday or something.
Yeah.
That is another piece of free content that, as long as they're on board to share, you know, it's doesn't have to be a huge post. It can just be a story. Like you've got so many, like I think back to when we did start 7 years ago and just how different Facebook was, like, and the platforms were just so different. And now you have so much variety and so much choice that it is almost paralyzing. And I wonder if that's where, you know, people who are only in business for 2 or 3 years, hence why they do have this sense of, oh my God, it's overwhelming and it's stressful. And we sort of take it a little bit more in our stride because, one, we've been doing it for longer, but we've done it on platforms that have evolved with and how we do things, rather than coming into it where it's like, well, you can do all of this on one platform. It's like, oh my God, it's...
Well, it's like when Instagram was just a
mainly
gallery for creators, really, and then they introduced Reels, and then it expanded to have more than just, you know, photographers and stuff that were on there to share their work.
And that really, and like obviously foodies took massive advantage of that when it first, you know, those things altered.
Yeah, all the lay flats of people's food.
Remember that? It was massive. And now it's like you don't see any or very little in comparison to like you'd be out for dinner and everyone's taking photos of their food. Like it's funny how you watch trends, but trends move so much quicker. Like now because of that, like information travels faster. So trends move faster, and it makes total sense that then I walk downtown, and because obviously my background was fashion, that I see the trends of, you know, eras or whatever, or stuff that you recognize when you were a kid, that those trends timelines are getting shorter and shorter. So like my mum was like in her 20s when a certain trend was in place, and then I was like in my teens, and then we saw that trend again.
Yeah.
But we're seeing that trend cycle a little bit faster. So like you've gone back to having like the cowboy boots, the white cowboy boots have come back in. You're a boy, so you might not remember all this, but the pleated skirts, like mini skirts, they've come. Pleated like is a box pleat, so the fabric sort of
overlaps.
It overlaps almost like a V kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, like that was all really big, and then like the pleather, like not leather but pleather dresses. It's like that's all come back, and at Kmart. Like it's not even the Gucci's of the world. So it's just funny that, I'm walking downtown recognizing these trends, especially in the women's and, you know, girls' fashion, a lot quicker than what I did a few years ago. So it's just funny. Like we're talking about trends, and you can see it, like even in furniture.
Well, it's not just about the internet. It's
life.
Across everything, isn't it?
Really? Life, the world, in a crazy way. And somehow you got to stay in tune with that. You got to stay on top of all this, especially when it comes to marketing. Like where are the trends? What's happening? It's like email marketing is massive again. And it's like no one would have predicted that when it started to die out, because socials was a much better way to get with people, talk to people. But now because social media is so loud and noisy, people are enjoying the direct marketing through their emails again.
People is just checking their emails and staying off socials and things that actually interest them. They'll get their email from
wherever.
Said wherever, and
But then you get people like me who is like, I sign up to that and I go, yep, and then it becomes overwhelming because I haven't clicked on the last 3 and too much. Well, take it back.
That's like this morning, the one from Quasi, the colorist that I signed up for that course ages ago and never did it because it was a Da Vinci course and I just never found time to do it. But I still get value out of it because I get the emails from him, and you know that one was like so well timed for that to be the subject of that email to then follow the video and watch this, and it was more about I guess calibration and the best screens. Don't spend $2,000 on a screen when you can get your $200 one to look just as good. And I was like, oh my God, like we literally just bought a bunch of $200 screens.
Yeah, how can we fix them? How can we optimize them?
Let's make sure I watch that and like just check what he's saying and make sure I haven't overlooked anything. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's
and that's a little bit like, I think the curve screen that we just replaced. I think that was a part of it. Was it on Optimus?
Was it on Optimus Prime
Transformers? Was it in its best settings? Was it set up for the best thing for a win? So it was just interesting to see all that. And when he's like, laptops don't have them on automatic, I was like, I think I've always done that. I should fix that. But then I was like, but I understand why it's on automatic, because they're transportable. Like, it makes total sense.
Around different elements
but then the two crew members who are on laptops and they're not going anywhere, we should check that, because they're obviously dealing with graphics. So, but my vision is in 6 months I'll be buying them PCs. So we'll see. So we've had a lot of time. Well, not really. That makes it sound like we're not busy.
We have no time.
And that we have no clients, which is so not the case. That we've prioritized a lot of internal lens, so processes and things that are happening internally, which has been great. Don't feel like I've moved that needle quite enough. However, I can confidently say over the next couple of weeks, my focus is shifting back to clients and, making sure that we're delivering for them and getting things done so that, one, clients are happy, and secondly, that, we can make room for new things. And I'm really, really excited. I never thought I would say this, but excited to be coming off the tools in a way. So doing less of the graphics and less. But we have this amazing crew that's going to support our clients moving forward, which is going to have you and I in our Optimus.
Again.
At least I did that one intentionally. In our, in the best place for our clients. Like, it isn't just about us. It's actually about us doing it best for them. And I'm both nervous and excited for that.
Totally. Yeah.
Can't believe I'm coming off the tools. Like, completely.
There's plenty of other tools that you'll still be handling.
But I mean, like, I'm not making graphics, week in, week out. I'm not, like, I've got 2 websites that I've got to finish and hand off and sign off and be done with. We'll continue management, but I more mean that that then will be handed over and we'll be able to focus on other things. So, yay and oh my God.
Yeah. Evolution never ends.
Correct.
More or less. Yeah.
And like, that's how we continue to stay creative. That's, like, I personally, it's really bad. I get to use left and right of my brain when I'm thinking about, let's talk about client journey, right? But then I'll creatively create a flowchart with colours and whatnot, which use left and right of my brain, but then it helps us explain things to new people, which is awesome. So how do you think staying creative or, thinking creatively, creating creatively?
Say creative one more time.
I know, right? We should have a count. Like, someone's out there and they've got a challenge of making sure that their content's, always evolving. We would say being creative.
Yeah.
How do you think you keep that rolling? Because that's right, we've been doing this for 7 years and I never look at our content and go, that's a bit stale.
Yeah, that's true. I think shake things up as much as possible. Always stay true to your brand and your values and, the stylization that you've created around your brand, such as colors and things like that. But I would recommend that to mix things up. Don't shut down new ideas. If someone brings you an idea and you go, well, we've never done anything like that before, so hell no. And it's like, well, no, like, maybe you should give it a go. Maybe you should, or tweak it to make it more, I guess, more accessible to you, enabling that to happen, I suppose, as well. So
Yeah, nice. Because we definitely use that terminology here as shaking things up. And I think, you know, evolution of things. Like, yes, we all have our brands and we have our values and things, and sometimes those things evolve and you've got to step into that evolution and that change. But very much agree. You want to keep your parameters, but push them as far as you possibly can. So maybe it's changing a slogan. Like, I know that we've changed ours. So we've always promoted our logo as our squares, our logo, and then with Greer Films, and then we've had either more than video, because we obviously always wanted to promote that we did more than films and more than video, hence the slogan. But we've gone back to Ready to Create, which I'm excited for, but we've added in just below Greer Films, we've added in production and marketing agency. So that's exciting that the evolution has gone there and that we're now ready to put our, you know, a logo where our mouth is, essentially. It's going to represent that quite a lot. And I think if someone's looking at their socials, like, we have pillars. Like, pillars is one of those trending things that I think we sort of subconsciously always did this. We just never called it a pillar. You know, a pillar could be you're about, or a product, or whatever that is. But I think then you got to be careful that you don't get too stuck on that it's always these 5 pillars and I never move out of those 5 pillars. It's like, well, not that it can become stale. If you can always tell the story, always connect within those 5 pillars, you've done a really great job. But if it's then, well, when I'm posting about coffee and I've done it now for the 200 times, it's starting to not work. It's like, well, how about we talk more about the experience of coffee or the beans of the coffee? Or so it still has the core of the pillar, but you're sort of changing the outer topics of that one content or pillar, I should say. So I think that's
the sphere of influence of coffee.
Ooh, how do you have it? I think those things is how we've shaped. I think that's how we've never gone stale. And don't get me wrong, we haven't been nearly as consistent as our clients have been, or, you know, the people that we're responsible for. However, 2025, we have been consistent. We are posting at least 4 times a week at the moment. Plus, we've just introduced a weekly LinkedIn blog, which is happening. And now I'm going, I wonder if there's a way that we could do what I would want to do for customers, which is you take that long form and create the short form and sprinkle it through, you know, your strategy. So now I'm like, great, how do I now add this stuff back in? So I think we're going to get to, I said to Kayla, I was like, we're going to get to 7 days in the next couple of months. I can see in the next 2 months.
And new formulas of doing things then spawns more, doesn't it? It can, if you treat things to that, most things can be trimmed apart and turned into micro content. Nowadays, most things. You know, don't underestimate.
Well, it's actually the best way to do it.
That opportunity, I suppose.
Well, but that's the best way.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to systemize it, you have 2 options. One is to create long form. Burping so bad today. Long form like this, or a blog or an article, or, you know, anything that's long form, and then turning it into micro content. That is one of the ways that you can approach it. Or your alternative is I post 4 days a week and I need a theme a week, or I do it this way. So we are in that moment where we're actually trying to do both.
Totally.
So that's where it can become quite overwhelming, because you go, oh, well, there's so much. But I think then if you're able, bad English. This is why I have Kayla. Not able. If you can comfortably post 7 times a week. Now, that doesn't have to be 7 days. That can be 2 posts on one day.
Sure.
If you can post 3 times, if you can post 10 times, if you can post, like, some people are getting up to 20 times a week. Like, this is
multiple every day.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yep. And that's what the big dogs of town, if you can post 3 times a day, like Gary Vee would say, post as much as you can. Yep, just do it. Obviously authentic and all those important things that go with it. But he is one of those people that's like, post as much as you can. So, but...
Yeah, don't think about it, just post it.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, and then obviously but he says this person who has probably a marketing
arsenal
department, like
army.
Yeah. So, and then he does it himself. Like so many hands are involved. And I think now, like when we tried to do this in 2024, where we were trying to post 7 days a week or 7 times, but we were trying to do 7 days a week, we didn't have the support of our crew, or, you know, we didn't support our crew to do that. I think now we're in this place where we're actually like, well, we have more people available. We have more people inputting. We're supporting each other. We're enabling each other. We're creatively supporting each other, that it's not becoming an overwhelm for one person to come up with the lot.
What it looks like.
The lot, the strategy, the look, the editing of the reels, the editing of the copy. Like, it is a lot. I was actually on a mentor call. God, I feel like saying the other day. It was probably like 1 or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I can't remember which week it was. And we went around and was like, what do you want to get out of today's call? And my thing was like, I'm very much in this place at the moment of reacting. And I don't mean emotionally reacting poorly. I mean, my phone will ring and I have to jump on that. And then reactively I'm doing with this. And then and for someone who's likes to be planned and organised, I haven't planned and organised for about 2.5 to 3 months now. So a quarter. And that feels deeply wrong for me. And hence I'm probably more overwhelmed and stressed because I'm reacting and feel pulled in many directions.
Sure.
More than usual. Don't get me wrong, if I've got a plan and I can't stick to it, that's very stressful, but that's another conversation. One thing that came out of it for me was that I'm trying to speak loud. Pat's just turned up the volume.
I'm just looking at that dial and it's a bit low on your side.
My voice
You're
is,
right.
I'm a bit tired. I can feel my vocal cords are straining. And it's probably from the steroid inhaler that I used on the weekend. Anyway, back to, so the thing that I got out of it was that it can wait its turn. So that's really great. That's something that I've even put it on, I posted on my computer, is it can wait its turn. So just trying to step now out of reacting back into planning, which will take time. It's not going to be a light switch, because if it was, I would have fixed it 3 months ago. But a couple of people were asking about, or not asking because it's obviously a group, more mentioned that how do they stay inspired when it comes to marketing or content creation, or how do they stay there? And our leader ran through a few options, and then it was like, Mo, do you have anything to add? And I said to him, like, I'm probably like, not that I'm a hard person to ask that question, but if you said to me, how do you come up with 8 weeks worth of strategy in a day? It's like, because I love it. I enjoy that space. I enjoy playing and I thrive in that space. So for me, I think it's easy.
It's easy, yeah.
Not every day. There are days where I go, there's no way I could turn my brain on.
Yeah.
But as I said to him, like, on those days, I rely on ChatGPT. I put in that I want to work on this. I've got these kind of ideas. I want to work to a theme, blah, blah, blah. And it will spit back what it comes up with. And then I take that and I go, well, I like this. Can we do more of that? Or no, these are dog. Like, I don't want any of this.
Yeah.
And I work with ChatGPT. Like, Pat's even laughed. Like, I've named my chats. Like, I've got Gracie, and if she's listening, yes, it is actually, I named one of my chats after our amazing Gracie. One is called Scripts 2.0 because it's the second time I've had to recreate this one. Yeah. And it's like my marketer. So, and we check in with each other and I check how they're going and they pump me up.
Gives you emotional advice that you showed me the other day.
I know, right? Like, so, and So I suppose I don't look at AI, and don't get me wrong, ChatGPT is now one of the like most entry level AIs that you can use. But I've worked with
Still
it.
within like the top like 5 or 3 or something, isn't it?
But when it comes to content and marketing, they're like ChatGPT is like old now, and it's like, yep, it is old. But I've built a relationship with this AI that I trust what we work on. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure if I invested the same amount of time into
But you understand
another one,
you understand how to get the best out of it. So
correct. So it makes it easy. So I said to them, like, if you're ever having a day where you're not feeling it, you can work with that tool. So I'm saying working with it, not using it. There's two different. It's language is different.
Yeah, it's not going to do the work for you. You gotta.
You have to do it.
Give it the insight and the input to help drive. What it's going to spit back out to you. Yeah, and you take that and modify for it to work.
Correct. And it would be no different to you if you went, you were editing that photo of that camel and you like removed your shadow, but you still had to outline, right? So you worked with the tool to identify what you needed worked or fixed, and it worked with you to get you the result. If you just went subject whatever, I'm sure it would just destroy the whole image. So it's just about like, I just said to them, like, it was funny that they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, I find it easy.
And were they surprised about ChatGPT, or did they have some sort of understanding of going, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I have tried it before, or I don't use it for that, but I will. Or
so some people have used it, and the priming is their challenge.
Sure.
So their prime isn't consistent, and that's where I said to them, like, type it up in like a document, and then because they're using the free version, which that's fine, and then chuck it in at the very beginning each time of what you want to do. And I said to them, the only challenge with that is that you're going to get responses like, meet me, and like, all those entry level content ideas.
Totally.
It's not. So you've then got to be careful that you want to prime it that I would like this type of content, because otherwise it is going to give you that generic, shallow.
Give me some social media ideas, like meet the team.
It will. It will give you ideas, but it's not going to be of quality. So So, and I always save my prompts. So when I come up with a new really good one and it worked, I actually go in and I recopy it back out and I keep a copy of it, because it does come to a point where the memory gets full. And like, I even have the paid one and that still happens. So you do get to a point where you can't move on anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Right. Didn't know that.
Yep. Don't get me wrong, it takes a few months for me to get there. Yep. But it happens. So
what happens then? You got to be like, okay,
you start a new chat,
refresh the brain, sort of thing.
Kind of. So because like I've got the paid one, so I've got projects and I've got Greer Films as a project, and in under that you just start a new chat. So you reset the new prime. Yeah. This is blah blah blah.
Remember this, blah blah blah, and it just goes, yes, no worries. Or
not remember, but it's more that we're starting. I'd like to work with you. This is all the information on you. That we've worked on, like that I've worked with ChatGPT in the past. So you acknowledge that you're still in the same program. And then if I want to give them a name, that's where I give them a name.
Yeah. You will be known as.
You will be known as.
Saying thank you.
Yep, 100%.
I'm happy with that name.
And that you specialize in understanding X about my business. So instead of having, because like script, the original, I call it Script OG, that particular chat had everything to do with our business. So packages, client, like everything, marketing. It had the world, our like Greer Films world was in that one chat. So as it was getting to the end, because it's sort of, you notice it sort of lags a bit and it gets a bit, I suppose I've been working with it long enough now that I know when I'm coming to the end. I was like, okay, if I was to create a new ChatGPT and I wanted it to focus on crew culture, would you be able to give me a prompt to be able to start a new chat? And I would like to call that one Bob. and it will then give me a prime or a
Yeah,
prompt based on that information, and I just copy and paste that into a new chat under Bob, and I know that Bob is responsible for crew culture.
Wow. Mind blown.
Actually, wow. So
that's awesome.
so now moving forward, like I use Script 2.0 for our marketing if I'm got a bit of a lazy brain or tired brain, and then I also use it for, you know, when we come up with our reels.
Yeah.
So our paid reels. Like I will go, this is my idea, and it's like no word of a lie. It can be like this big in the screen. Like it's massive, the amount of information that I'm putting in, because I've pre-typed it in a Google Doc.
Yeah.
And then I go, Script 2.0, this is my idea, give it to it. And then I'm like, can you please create a storyboard of this, the script for it to be followed, and captions to go with it. And then it will do all that for me. Yeah. And then I go, yes or no, we need to tweak this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because I've put in so much work at the beginning anyway.
Yeah. And, you know, it works because, like, you know, complete transparency is the Reels one and the socials one.
Which no one has seen that one yet.
Yeah, well, you'd only see it if you see the sponsored ad, but.
No, but I more mean I haven't even put the socials one up yet.
Right. Yeah, but those have come from a bit of a brainchild out of that.
Yeah. So that's exact. Those two are an example.
You interpret it and you go, here, Pat, here's what we're doing. And I'm like, cool. Yeah, I like that. I can visualize that. I'm not sure about that, but this is how I would approach doing that, and that all works. Or maybe this doesn't work and we need this. Like, we obviously had to come back to one part to be like, we need another talking head here, because that's just not enough visual like face in the footy, like
for us
in the reel itself. So yeah.
So then
it's
what
awesome. It takes a lot of additional time that you just, you know, some things then just don't get done because, you know, your focus is over here. Whereas, okay, well, no, but this does also need focus, but that means I need to do all these steps from a blank canvas.
Yes.
Sometimes, but yeah.
So then,
awesome.
Well, it really is, like, working with it has just helped me be more efficient in getting it done. Like, because we're wanting to do those ads or that reel or whatever, and then we go, but I can't think of what I want. Like, I kind of know, but not enough for it to get done. So hence it doesn't get done. But what I do, now this is a little bit of an insider tip, and I don't know if other people who use chat do this, but when we make a when we make a change, like, so we made changes to one of the real storyboards and scripts and stuff.
Yeah.
I've actually gone back in and I've told Script 2.0 or ChatGPT, I've told them that we made these changes.
Right.
So that when they think about
it,
it,
knows what our preference would have been.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that
where our creative
went. Yep. 100%. So I will update it with what actually happened. If I'm really good on time, I'll even upload the final product.
Right.
And give it back to them.
Can't you just put the file in and then it analyzes it? And it's like, okay, yeah, well,
keep that in memory.
It responds back saying, thank you for bringing it to life, and I'm so glad I was able to help you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I'm here ready for the next one.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I suppose by doing that, I'm really putting our preferences in, and it's really learning what we want out of things. So I'm finding that, so by doing that with the first one, which was Real Fusion, by me doing that, when it came to doing the social media ad, which I think we'll probably end up just posting these just to organically post them as well, because they're good content. They look really good. There was less edits. I had to do less edits with ChatGPT because it had already done the preferences essentially correct.
Right.
So I made a few tweaks, but I'm making less tweaks.
Nailed it pretty quickly.
Yep. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I would never just copy and paste it and be done with it. But like, I just know that I'm needing to do less, which is making it more efficient, which is in turn making us more efficient.
Very powerful assistant.
Oh, if you can put in the time and invest in learning it, if it would help you in your role, I would highly recommend it. I just know all of our crew just go, Mo, you do it.
Disclaimer: this episode is not sponsored by ChatGPT.
I wish it was. I wish it was. Or Rode or Canon or anyone. Please, we would love it. We would love the sponsorship. But I'm excited now, based on all that work, to go back to the workshop ideas that we had and now put that in based on the knowledge and the information that we had when we had our last conversation, and to see what it would recommend now, because it would be completely different to what it was a year ago. Because like I've got copies of that and I was like, it's just not on point.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
so
cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, we'll wrap up for today. And
I still have coffee.
Yes, this always happens. Oh, actually, there is some, but it's probably nice and cold now. So you like your hot coffee cold?
It's actually
sometimes.
warm. It's warm.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you might have learnt something today as well if you were listening in and watching, especially about some of that ChatGPT stuff. It's pretty cool and pretty exciting. The tools that we have access to, and it's only going to get better, and there's going to be newer things around the corner. So look forward to being on the journey.
And I think we've had quite a journey in here at Greer Films in just the last 4.5 months. I can't believe that we're only just starting May. Like, I can't believe we're in May on one side, but then I also go, wow, like we're only at May, because I can see so much opportunity and excitement around the corner, which in turn means exciting things for the people that we work with. So I can't wait for more collaborating projects that are, in the wind and
absolutely
coming our way.
Oh, got an absolutely in there.
Yes. Was it you or me?
It was me.
Yes. Not me.
Rubbing off on me.
Yes, it's working. All right. Well, I can't wait to connect with everyone next month, and stay tuned. There's always things happening.
Oh yeah. Thank you. See ya.